What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about William Nylander and the fact that he still doesn't have a contract. Now, don't get worried, Leaf fans, it's nothing to stress out about. Kyle Dubas said that a contract will get done. It's only August. Next month is when the season starts in September with like training camp and preseason and stuff like that. That's when, when there's actually games coming up, maybe then you'll get worried, like if it's a couple days before the season starts. But for now, it looks like they're just negotiating and making sure everything's right. We all know that it'll get done, because William Nylander is going to stay a Toronto Maple Leaf. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a fan. Actually, it's funny enough, I'm wearing the outdoor jersey that they wore against Washington. It's actually a Mitch Marner jersey. I got to get a William Nylander jersey. I don't have to physically buy the jersey. I already have one. I just need to get his name and number put on the back of it. So that way when he does sign, I can wear the Nylander jersey. Hopefully that'll be soon. But yeah, I've got some stats I'm going to pull up and everything. I just want to give a general consensus of what money he may be asking for, what the Leafs might be countering with, because a lot of people are just throwing numbers out there. I'd like to throw some numbers out there as well. I don't think that I'm an expert when it comes to this, but I kind of have a general idea of maybe what he's asking for, because I think a lot of people are either throwing numbers that are way too high out there or like way too low, like hometown discount, like crazy type of deals. And he's not from Toronto. Usually a hometown discount in my eyes is when a player is actually like, been there for years and years and years and might have even lived in Toronto. Like Nylander is fairly new to the Toronto Maple Leafs when it comes to the actual team itself. I know he played for the Marlies and stuff, but I don't think that there's going to be any like huge hometown discounts here. So if you're new, make sure you subscribe. Love to have more hockey conversations with you. Join the squad. Let's get to 4,000 subscribers. Some links down below as well. T-shirts if you want to buy one, and you can use code APH in all caps to get $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek, and I'll give you guys more info on that later on. But getting back to this, again, let's just briefly talk about William Nylander and the fact that he is one of the big three of the Toronto Maple Leafs, technically big four, but part of the big three that don't have contracts. Obviously, Marner and Matthews are in their last year. Nylander technically needs a deal right now before the season starts, of course. And a lot of people are saying that he will probably end up with like $7 or $8 million. Now, I wouldn't be too, ticked off if he got like $7 million or something like that. And I don't think it's too far off to think that. But I think more people are comfortable, talking about $1 million less than that, around 6 or 6.5. So let's look at some things that have happened recently, and let's talk about maybe why he'll get more or less than these certain players. So first off, I want to talk about David Pastrnak, because a lot of people have been comparing him, the contract, not, the playing wise, but the contract wise, because they're the same age. Obviously, Pastrnak has already signed the deal, whatever. He's been in the NHL a little longer, but they're comparing his $6.6 million, he has the bunch of six after that, but $6.6 million 6-year deal with the Boston Bruins. And a lot of people are also comparing it with the Dylan Larkin contract, of course, that he just got, $6.1 million over, 5 seasons, I believe it was. So first off, again, let's get back to Pastrnak here. So I'm putting his numbers up on the screen there. As you can see, he is a fantastic hockey player. The number of games he's played gone up every single year, as well as the points. He's definitely proven to a lot of people that he is one of the elite players on the Boston Bruins and maybe in the entire NHL. Him being so young, it wouldn't be, silly to think that he could hit like 90 or 95 points depending on how much he scores next season, because that Boston team is fantastic. His contract, again, like I said, is at $6.6 million on the cap. The next one that I mentioned was Dylan Larkin. We'll look at his numbers. Now, William Nylander has better numbers than him in a couple seasons here. Like he obviously outscored him, he only outscored him once, and that was in the 2016-2017 season. Nylander had 61 points, where Larkin had 32 points. So that was definitely an off year. But last season, Larkin outscored Nylander by 2 points, and he got a contract for $6.1 million. Now, I didn't pull up any numbers here because for the next person I'm going to talk about, because I just wanted to mention this brief. James Van Riemsdyk obviously just signed a deal with the Philadelphia Flyers. It was a 5 or 6 year deal, but he's getting $7 million on the cap every single season. So with the cap going up, some teams like Philly might have overpaid a little bit to guarantee that Van Riemsdyk would come in, but I see, because the cap has gone up, that some players, including Nylander, might be looking for a bigger contract. So let's pull up Nylander's numbers. Of course, the 22 games that he played in the first year that he came up for the Leafs, he had 6 goals and 7 assists for 13 points in 22 games. In the 16-17 season, in 81 games played, he had 22 goals, 39 assists for 61 points. And in this past season, he played all 82, had 20 goals, 41 assists, and 61 points. And I don't think it'd be crazy to say that he will probably get much better numbers this season, because of the fact that this Leafs team is going to be ridiculous when it comes to the power play time he's probably going to get with, really talented players, as well as being put in good situations, because matchups are going to be so hard for other teams. William Nylander could be looking at cashing in. And for me, when I give you guys those numbers before, like I said, Larkin at 6.1, Pastrnak at 6.6, Van Riemsdyk, who might not be the best comparison, but he just was given $7 million per season, and William Nylander scoring basically, he might score at a better pace than him this season. Van Riemsdyk's more of a goal scorer, but when you look at the age difference too, like Van Riemsdyk's 29, I believe he's 29, 28, 29 years old, and Nylander's 22, so he's much younger. He's going to have a little bit more time, with the Leafs at probably a pretty decent contract. So you're going to have to look at all those things and say, where does William Nylander fit in, those 3 contracts are, to me, seem like fair comparisons. So first of all, I do think he will get paid more than Larkin and possibly more than Pastrnak, just based off the fact that, first of all, I do think that Nylander has a higher ceiling than Larkin, and a lot of people might not like that. But it also comes with the fact that he's probably going to be playing with much better players this upcoming season, and maybe for the next 3 or 4 seasons, depending on how good Detroit can get with some of the young players that they've picked up. I do think that he will probably outscore Larkin this season, and I think maybe the Leafs are anticipating that as well for him to take another step. So I would think he's definitely getting paid more than 6.1, although I would argue that Larkin does have a chance to be a fantastic scorer in this league, that he obviously hasn't taken his final steps yet. He's definitely going to get much better. David Pastrnak, in my eyes, is probably a better player than William Nylander, but I do think that you could argue both ways for that. I do like Nylander more because I'm a Leafs fan, of course, but I do have a lot of respect for Pastrnak and think he's one of the more elite goal scorers in the NHL. He's probably going to score. I honestly wouldn't put it past him to score 40 or 45 goals next season, or maybe the season after. I do think that he's got an unbelievable scoring touch. And with his $6.6 million deal, a lot of people might argue, oh, well, Nylander should get 6.5. But with the cap going up, he might be ending up near the James Van Riemsdyk territory. And of course, there's other comparisons, but he may end up with $7 million, maybe even more. I would be comfortable if the Leafs paid less than $7 million for William Nylander. I think that obviously that's because I want the Leafs to have decent cap room when it comes to getting other players. Obviously, it's not going to happen. The Leafs are going to be quite close to the cap, and they're going to need to bring in younger guys as well. But I think that I'd be comfortable around the 6.6, like Pastrnak, to $6.8 million range. I think that that's probably fair. I think it'd be even better, knock the ball out of the park, if they got him for 6.5. But I really do think it's going to be difficult for the Leafs to keep him under $7 million, because they might look and say the cap went up. Nylander scoring at the same pace as some guys that are out, that are probably going to get more money than him, like Van Riemsdyk. I mean, Nylander should be outscoring him when it comes to points-wise, maybe not goals. But they're also going to argue that Nylander, of course, hasn't really fully hit his stride yet, and I would argue the same thing. I think Nylander's going to get much better. So it would be cool to see him really take another step this season after getting paid like a $6.6 million contract. But my prediction is probably going to be $6.8 million over 6 seasons. I don't know if they're going to go a full 8. I would like them to do that, but I think it'll probably be 6 or 7. I'm not sure if it'll be a full 8 years. I would hope so. So my prediction would be like 6.8, and I'm just going to say it because I'm a fan. I'll say 8 years, 6.8 over 8 years. Obviously, he's going to get paid 6.8 to the cap every year. They could structure it differently because of, you know, a potential lockout and stuff like that. So let me know what you guys think. I just wanted to throw some numbers out there and have a general conversation on what could happen. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. I'd love to have more hockey conversations with you. Join the squad. Let's get to 4,000 subscribers. If you want to use my code for $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek, use code APH in all caps. You guys can find game tickets there, concert tickets, all that stuff like that. And it shows you where the best seats are on the site as well. They're not going to scam you or anything like that. They will talk to you if anything goes wrong. So hopefully you guys will check that out and use the code APH in all caps. If you want to buy a t-shirt, I lowered the price on them. I'm pretty sure it's like $16, $17 US and like 20 Canadian. Those will be down below as well. Click the notification bell. I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Peace.